Guys, I wanted to do something today, and I think I'm going to do a series, but I wanted to kind of highlight some of the colors that I deem essential. I know that I have a lot of colors, and a lot of you are more minimalist, and that's cool. I am definitely not, especially when it comes to colors. But I tried to narrow it down to six of each, and then I do have a few shout outs to talk about. um, Green was actually a little easier category, so that's the one I'm going to start with today. I had one color in particular that didn't end up in the initial six, and it's actually a good big part of the reason that I decided to do some shout outs. Um, but I wanted to just show some of the ones that I are my go tos and maybe explain why they're my go tos. Um, you're gonna find I'm probably a little Daniel Smith heavy just because that's what I have the most of. I do not have it in this color one, but there's going to be some beam shout outs. And the only reason they're not main colors is that they come in pans only, basically. I am definitely a tubes kind of girl, prefer tubes. So that's the only reason that they're not basically in this. But anyway, let's get started. So I always like to keep what I consider, I guess, a basic green. And for me, that's pretty much always Hooker's green. So let's add some water here. And I like a good Hooker's green. I just feel like it's sort of a easy medium green, for lack of a better word. It's very easy to skew. Grab the wrong one. It's very easy to change up if you want it. So I always have a Hooker's green. In this case, in fact, I have several, but right now, the one I'm using the most is the Winsor Newton one. Don't need quite that much. And I like this one a lot. I've got a few that I don't like quite as much. This is probably the one that I go to the most. I like it. Feel that it gives you a really consistent color. So I know most of these are going to be considered convenience colors for some of you guys, and that's fine. But in this case, this is a PY 110, and I'm going to so butcher this, but it's isoindolinone yellow and phthalo green yellow shade. I can only kind of go by what's on the tube. I have not tested these, but it's supposed to be excellent light fastness. It is transparent. It is non-granulating, mild staining, and on some of these, I'll note if they have that really big bloom effect, because I like watching that. And if they have that big bloom effect, then it tells me a lot about how I need to treat it with water and how much water to use. So the next one up, that's definitely considered a convenience color, and I never thought I would use this color a lot until I got it, and I was like, oh wow, I really like this color, is the Daniel Smith Green Gold. I know a lot of people talk about they like it, but they just mix it. This is just, I don't know. I really like this one. So clearly this one travels very well. It blooms very well. And it's just such a neat little range. I like the fact you can get kind of this olivey, and then it definitely goes to that much more yellowy color. I really like this color. Like I said, it's not a color I ever really thought I would get and be like, oh, wow, this color. But I do, and I do use it a lot. It is PY 150, which is nickel azo yellow, PY 3, I'm probably going to butcher this one too, Aerolide yellow, and PG 36, which is phthalo green yellow shade. I believe phthalo green yellow shade is 36 through 38, but someone corrects me if I'm wrong on that one. The other one I'm a big fan of. It's also supposed to be very good light fastness. It is transparent, it's non-granulating, and it's pretty low staining. It's pretty easy to lift up. And as we saw, it definitely blooms in water really well. So the next one I use a lot of actually is this, and I'm probably going to screw this one up, this Dopside Genuine color. It is another, I guess it's a little darker green, but it's kind of it's an easy green in my opinion. I don't know. I should have wet this down. It's a little darker, and it's a little, I guess, bluer than the Hooker's green. The pigment information on this one is kind of non-existent because it is one of the Primatech colors, which means it's supposed to just be, I guess, minerals. As you can see, it blooms very well. I kind of have mixed feelings about that. I think there's got to be more to the colors than just the mineral, and they don't list them, and I don't like that. I have a few of the Primatech colors on this list. So, unfortunately, I can't really give much pigment information. They say that this is excellent light fast. It is transparent. It clearly travels very well. It is a little granulating, and it's low staining. It's another kind of medium green, I guess, for me. A lot of times I'll lean towards those medium values just because they're easier to tweak, but it's clearly a lot cooler than the Hooker's green. So we're going to move on to the Sennelier Forest Green. And I'm not going to lie, this is another color that I got it, and I just never dreamed that I would absolutely love it. There is a monochrome video with this one coming here soon. I've been kind of playing with ideas for it because I love this color. If you guys saw the swatching on this one, I think you caught my surprise because I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. So this is a color that you could definitely use as a black. And it's just such a pretty color. Very deep green. It is definitely a cooler leaning green. But it's just, I don't know, it's just such a pretty green. I love that green so much. So it is PBK7, which is carbon black or lamp black, as some folks call it. PG7, which is phthalo green blue shade, and PY42, which is yellow iron oxide. I don't know that I ever would have picked out these colors that would create this, so I think maybe that's one reason I don't like to do the mixing. But anyway, so it is those three colors supposed to have excellent light fastness. It is semi-transparent. It is pretty non-granulating, and I think it does stain a little, but I don't think it's a heavy stain. And it's pretty stationary in water. It doesn't tend to bloom the way others do. So my next one is also a Daniel Smith. This is the Deep Sap Green. I'm not going to lie. I've tried a lot of sap greens and I end up not really caring for them. So I actually, I grabbed this one on accident. I think I was trying to get the underwater green, if I remember correctly, and I wasn't paying close enough attention because I have squirrel brain, and I ended up grabbing this one instead, and I got it home and I was frustrated and I was like, well, let me have a look at it. And then I tried it and I ended up really liking it. So it is also a darker green. It is a little more yellow than this forest green. And as you can see, it blooms very nicely. I always call it traveling. I think blooming is the official term for it, but that's okay. So it does move through water pretty well. And this is another combination of colors that I never would have been like, oh yeah, that's going to make a really neat color that I love. It is PO48, which is Quinn Gold. It is PY3, which is that Airlide yellow, and PB27, which is Prussian blue. And maybe that's why I like this color so much, because y'all know I love my Prussian blue. It's supposed to be very good light fastness. It is transparent. It clearly travels through water very well. It is mostly non-granulating and medium staining. So the other one that I have on hand pretty much all the time. So if I have a palette, I have a Meeden palette that I really like that's got, I think, 37 slots in it. These are the colors that end up in that palette when I'm limited to a handful. These are the colors that I end up with in that kind of palette. So This is Winsor Newton, very specifically Winsor Newton olive green. So I did have the Daniel Smith olive green, did not like it at all. I actually gave it away because I did not like it. But I do like having a solid olive green. I just think it's just a good color to have. And this one does travel through water a little, not as quickly or as easily as some of the others, but it does move. It's not going to be stationary. The light fastness on it is supposed to be very good. It is transparent, it is granulating, and it is staining. It is a mixture of PY65, which is Hansa Yellow Deep, PB15 6, which is Phthalo Blue Red shade, so the warm shade, and PR101, which is a synthetic iron oxide. It's a color or a pigment that I see pop up a lot, and you see it a lot in like Indian red and Venetian reds. So the next ones are my shout outs, and these are the ones that I do like. I can technically live without them, but I do like having them on hand. So the first one is Jadeite. It is another of the Daniel Smith Primatech colors, so pigment information is very lacking. It just says Jadeite. It is supposed to be excellent light fastness. Mind you, I have not tested any of these. There are plenty of people out there who have. It is semi-transparent. It is a darker color. It is granulating. It's very granulating. It's actually really pretty when it granulates. Ooh, that's a little much. Let's come back a little bit. This also goes on very dark. And you could swap it out for a black if you were froggy. I'm probably going to miss the granulation because I got a little heavy on that. Let's see if I can pull some of it. It is staining, as we can see. And let's see. This granulates with a black for the most part, so I'm pretty sure there's a lamp black or something in here that separates out. This is a newer one for me. I haven't played with it a lot, but I do really like it. I like the variation. So I'm one of those, I like granulating colors. I don't want all of my colors to granulate, but there's times where I really like having that. So this is one that does granulate. If you want a darker green that has a nice granulation, this is a good one. So this next one is the Terra Verde from Daniel Smith. This is actually one of the reasons I decided to do a shout out, because I really like this color and I do actually use it a fair bit. It is just a nice green. It's supposed to be light fast. It is pretty transparent. I got my, all right, let me find I got some coming out the top and I don't have a spot for it. So let me move this real quick and put it in a palette. I squeeze the bottom of my tubes to get them up and it shoves a lot of stuff to the top. All right, so this is the Terra Verde. It is not a staining color. It's a little cooler. It does granulate and it does move through water pretty good. And I don't know, again, why I like this color so much. I just do. There we go. It is PG18, which is Viridian, and PBR7, which is Raw Umber. So another one of those that I probably would never have been like, oh yeah, that's going to make a great color. And then I do have a single sap green that I actually like. This one's probably going to be a little less popular because it is kind of opaque. It's definitely nowhere near as transparent as we're used to with watercolors. It is a PG17. It is chrome oxide green, and this is the Mayberry Blue sap green. Like I said, I actually really like this color. This is the only sap green I've played with that I really like. It will travel in water, but it doesn't explode the way some do. It's definitely a much more opaque. This is one of those you can put on pretty heavy and cover up a lot of stuff. It's a, I don't know, it's just like I said, it's a pretty one that I really like. It's Mayberry Blue, so it's only single pigment, which is at PG-17. It is supposed to be an excellent light fastness. Like I said, it is fairly opaque as far as it goes. It is pretty non-granulating and low staining. So as these dry, you kind of get a better sense of them. Yeah, clearly I had a little too much water over there. But like I said, the Hooker's Green is definitely my go-to base green for pretty much anything. It's the one I pretty much always start with for the most part. I feel like it's easy to tweak, it's easy to use, and it just lays down really nicely. I do have multiple versions of this, and the Winsor Newton is my favorite. The Daniel Smith Green Gold is just a nice color because you get a lot of variation out of it depending on how watered down it is. And um, it's just a color I really didn't expect to like, and I got it because people were talking about it, and I was like, oh wow, this is really nice. I use this a lot and when I do landscape stuff. I just really do think it's a great color. The Topside Genuine, again, a great color. Unfortunately, no pigment information because it's a Primatech, but it's a nice mid green with some granulation. You can see some of it starting here. Uh, Another one that I use as a base for a lot of things, actually. The Sennelier Forest Green. I love this color. I do. When I put it down the first time after I got it, I was just like, holy crap, this is an amazing color. It can go very dark. It could replace a black if you needed it to. You can also get a lighter tone out of it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful color. Deep Sap Green, again, a pretty color. And honestly, I have it marked as non-granulating, but it looks like it does have some granulation in there. Or maybe I just had so much water on there. But another darker green color that is just very useful for multiple things. Very good for shadows and that kind of thing. Like I said, I only have the one sap green that I like, but I'm not sad that I ended up getting this on accident because I use it a fair bit. I always like having an olive green handy. Winsor Newton is my preferred olive green. I've tried a few others, not a huge fan. And then again, my shout outs are this Jadeite Genuine, which does granulate really well. It can also go very dark if you needed something to maybe replace a black or you just wanted something with a little more depth. This Terre Verde is, again, one of my favorites. It's a very, I guess, gentle color is what I would call it. It's just a really lovely, lovely color. I use it a fair bit. And then as far as sap green goes, I really like this Mayberry Blue. It is a single pigment color, which means when you mix it, you're less apt to get mud. The only downside to this one is that it is a little more opaque than a lot of watercolors. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just all about preference. But anyway, these are my go-to greens, and I have way more greens than that, but these are the ones that I find myself reaching for over and over again. The ones that I make kind of base colors and that I work off of. And like I said, if I've got a limited palette, these are the ones that usually end up in it. And so they're definitely my go-tos. But so those are my essential colors. I don't know how they line up with your essential colors. Maybe you saw one on here that you thought you wanted to give a try. By all means, if that happens, please let me know and let me know what you think of it. Um, I I would recommend all of these colors so far. These are the ones that carry a lot of weight for me and the ones that I rely on a lot. So anyway, go out there, go play with some green colors, be it your paints, your neo colors, your markers, whatever, and go have a good day. Go out, just art, and I'll see you next time, guys.